Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Couple things. Drew Farmer is attending virtually. Lucinda DeNovo is not going to be attending the meeting this evening. Another thing on the agenda, I'm going to ask us to switch number 8 to number 7 and move number 7 down. So we have all the budget items together to end the public hearings with those. So we'll do that. Okay, the next item is public comments. So this would be a time to come forth. Somebody has a comment that's not on the agenda, preferably, but if there's something on the agenda, they can discuss it now or later. So any public comments this evening, just come forth, give us your name and where you reside. No public comments? Okay, moving on. Consent calendar. Council?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the consent calendar as submitted. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Okay, number 4, approval of the appointments to the Library Board and Planning Commission. I hope everyone had a chance to read it, and we had a few applicants. We had 2 applicants to each one, and those are the spots that are available. With the ones that have applied, it was decided that we don't need to go through an interview process, but if for some reason council wants to do that, we can, but I didn't see a need to, and staff didn't either. We know the individuals that have applied. So what's your pleasure, or are you all right with this? That being, okay, everyone? Mm-hmm. Drew, you all right?
Yep, works for me.
Okay. So if everyone's all right, have any questions about the applicants? No? So if that's not the case, how would you like to proceed? Or need a motion to approve the appointments to the Library Board and Planning Commission, or we can do them separately if you prefer.
We can do the whole thing.
Yep.
I move we appoint Gina Sutherland and Janice Longlinay to the Library Board for 4-year terms ending June 30th, 2025, and appoint Patrick Terry to the Planning Commission to fulfill Terry Pittenger's unexpired term ending December 31st, 2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint the appointees to the Library Board and the Planning Commission. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing to enact ordinance to vacate a portion of the division right-of-way. And so, Jim, you want to give us Jim's not here. Roger, you want to give us a brief scenario?
One of those rare meetings where Jim is not here. So city staff came before you back on May 4th to discuss a staff request to vacate a portion of Division Avenue between Lakeshore Drive and Patrick Avenue. The reason for the request was based on the topography of that area, it is highly unlikely that that right-of-way would ever be developed into a street. It's gone through its process, and all the abutting property owners have been contacted, and at this point in time, staff is requesting, if it pleases the council, that you enact the ordinance to vacate that portion of Division Avenue, again, between Lakeshore Drive and Patrick Avenue.
Okay, any questions for Roger, anyone, or staff? Okay, hearing no questions, so we're going to open up the public hearing to enact ordinance to vacate a portion of Division Avenue right-of-way. So this would be the time that someone would like to come forth and make a comment. This would be the time to do so. Anyone? No, any public comments? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, how would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion that we enact an ordinance to vacate a portion of Division Avenue between Lakeshore Drive and Patrick Avenue.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to enact an ordinance to vacate a portion of Division Avenue and right-of-way. Division Avenue right-of-way. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
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 It's an ordinance.
Oh,
Oh,
That's right.
sorry. Melissa?
Saving graces.
Almost.
An ordinance providing for the vacation of an undeveloped portion of Division Avenue located east of Patrick Avenue and west of Lake Shore Drive, found in Section 17, Township 25, Range 13, west of the Willamette Meridian, Coos County, Oregon. Counselor Farmer,
Aye.
Counselor Kilmer,
Aye.
Counselor Marlar,
Aye.
Counselor Matthews,
Aye.
Counselor Miles,
Aye.
Mayor Benetti.
Aye.
Ordinance number 542 has been duly enacted.
Thank you. Okay, next item is a public hearing on the use of the revenue sharing funds. Approval to accept the funds would require adoption of the resolution. Nicole?
Yes, thank you. This is a standard procedure we need to do with each budget. This was presented at the Budget Committee on April 15th. We have a public hearing there to allow the public to come in and discuss the state revenue sharing funds and the addition of them to the budget. That Budget Committee approved the proposed budget. It's going to come to you tonight, and we're just asking that you do that same process. Hold a public hearing, take public input, and then, should you wish, pass that resolution.
Okay, any questions for Nicole? Okay, hearing that there are no questions for her, I'll open the public hearing on the use of revenue sharing funds. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment? Hearing no public comments or seeing no public comments, I'll close the public hearing on the use of revenue sharing funds. And council, how would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 21-15, accepting state revenue sharing funds.
Second?
Been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 21-15. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Okay, now we're going to move up, we'll go to number 8 and make that 7, as I mentioned earlier. Public hearing on the approval of fiscal year 2022 budget. Nicole?
Yes, thank you. So as I just noted, we met with the Budget Committee in April on the 15th, which we presented the proposed budget. After several hours of meeting and discussion time, we came to consensus with just one change, which you will note is in this budget. We had a revision to the community contributions. We wanted to leave a little bit extra. We pulled that from contingency to provide potentially a couple other options for spending those funds. That's a $5,000 amount. We've added a line item for that. Other than that, this is the budget that was presented and approved by the Budget Committee. So we're asking you tonight if you are in agreement with the Budget Committee, that you adopt this budget. We also need to levy the taxes and appropriate the funds.
Okay, so I'm going to open a public hearing on the approved fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. Are there any comments made, or anyone want to make a comment? Seeing or hearing no public comments, I'll close the public hearing on the approval fiscal year of the budget 2021-2022. Council, how would you like to proceed?
I move that we adopt Resolution 21-16, approving the fiscal year 2021 to 2022 budget.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to the adoption of the resolution 21-16, which would adopt the budget and make appropriations and levy the ad valorem taxes for 2021-2022. Are there any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. To number 8 now, this is approval of the 2021 through 2023 council goals that we have discussed at a work session and made our comments. And Roger?
Yes, as you mentioned, Mayor, the city used a consultant who aided the council in going through a goal-setting session back on March 6th. With the information that was produced at that meeting, city staff refined and put together a list of potential council goals for your consideration. That was brought to you back on May 25th. Again, for your review, there was additional information provided by the council, and all of that information has been added to what I would consider a very ambitious set of goals for the next 2 years. Given that, if it pleases the council, I would ask that you approve the 21 to 23 council goals, and then staff will move forward with putting together a task list and timelines so that we can begin to accomplish your desires.
Any questions about the goals that are listed? So Roger, these aren't set in stone, and they're going to be, the potential that something could come off or something could go back on or change. It's a fluid document, right?
It is, and as it's shown in years past, many times some of the things that come up won't even be anywhere on the radar for the council goals. That doesn't prohibit the council from undertaking something additional. It'll all be about resources, and you may determine that you may want to add something in, but may want to delay something else.
I know in past years, and I'm sure the rest of you are just as aware as I am, that we've added a lot of things to the tasks that we ask the staff to do besides the goals. The only thing I would request, and I think I did at the last work session, if we have some document that we know where we're at. Sometimes I feel guilty putting something else on, but, it comes up. But priorities change and things change, but I think it's important that we are aware of it. And I think another thing, I think it's important to let the public realize how much the council has as goals and set, and how much that we're expecting the staff to accomplish, sometimes pushing it a little bit. So I do appreciate the staff working with us on this. But those are my comments. Any other comments on the goals? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I was just going to comment that I think that it's amazing what the city does do, and I don't think that people realize, how many things outside of our goals that you check off the boxes for, but it would be nice to get the reports of how we're checking these boxes off as we go, because there's a lot that's happening within the city, and I think Mr. Mayor has made that point. It's always good to keep the public informed.
So, and I wanted to share with you that we hope to give you a monthly status report.
Anything else, council? If not, if I could get a motion to approve the council goals.
I'll make the motion to approve the 2021-2023 council goals.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the council goals. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Okay, we're to the city manager's report. Roger?
Yes, it doesn't happen very often that we have a change in command in one of our public safety departments, but we are at that time where Chief McCullough is getting ready to transition into retirement and move on to the next phase of his life. And then that will leave a spot open for, Coos Bay's new top cop, someone that will lead the organization. It's rare that we actually know exactly when that one's leaving and the new one's coming, who that will be. Here, it happens to be both in the same department, and this gives us the opportunity to actually do a formal change of command ceremony. You have invitations before you at your desk. That has been scheduled to occur on June 15th. And you will notice that someone in military time put the hours on it because it says 17:45 hours, or for the rest of us at 5:45.
I know.
So it's an honor to see this happening and to witness this, and it's a great way to celebrate a well-done career for Chief McCullough, and to start out soon-to-be Chief Chapinar's new position at the department.
Yeah, I look forward to it, and, yeah, this will be great. Anyway, I know Deputy Chief Chapman always does military time. I get it early at the morning ones, I don't have a problem with. At night, the afternoon ones.
You just
I
have to keep counting, and I usually use my hand past noon, 12 noon. They're
I know.
pretty easy.
On to a totally different topic, wastewater. As you know, we're just a month and 5 days away from taking over the actual operations and maintenance of our wastewater utility. That would require us to bring on 17 additional personnel. I'm happy to report that we have confirmation secured 13 of the 17, and the other 4 are pending.
Oh, great.
So anticipate that things are moving forward very well. The LED light conversion project continues on, and I had the opportunity to actually watch one of them today. I couldn't blink because it took about 5 minutes by the time they raised the hoist up and changed out the unit and were on their way to the next one. It's very quick. So, and I started looking around, and it's very easy to tell which ones are the new LEDs. And then lastly, for tonight, if you're driving down on 101, you can definitely see some changes that are occurring at the Hemlock interchange. The sea of cones are out of the way.
Yes.
So it's always fun to come in early in the mornings and find out how many of them have been knocked over during the night. But that's done. I did see a truck behind Motel 6 this morning when I was looking around the area, and it has the new set of signals for the railroad tracks. So hopefully, rather soon, that project will be completed and put to rest, and we can move on to something else.
That's great.
But that concludes my report for this evening.
Thanks, Roger. Council comments. Rob?
I just want to thank Kathy Erickson and Steve Metz for their service on the library board over the years. The committees and boards help drive our decision-making up here, so I appreciate their work on that. And I also am happy to welcome Janice and Gina to the library board. I think they're going to be a good asset, especially when in marketing the value of the library in the community. And that's all I have.
All right. Stephanie?
Well, I don't really have too much to say, but I did note that early this afternoon, we got word from public health officials that we will stay at moderate. We barely skimmed by, but we just need to keep folks who are ready to get vaccinated. You can almost, as Eric Gleason said, Dr. Eric Gleason said, you can almost fall into a vaccination clinic. There are so many around. Vaccinations and lowering those infection rates have helped us stay, but we are at 53.5% vaccinated in Coos County, and to get to 65%, that's the goal. And I just saw a headline today that Lane County is so close that they'll be able to stay at a lower risk possibly as well, so that's where we want to be. That helps our businesses and helps us all stay healthy. So just a reminder to go out and get that done.
So Stephanie, I heard, do you know what the state is overall? I heard it was like 62%, is that correct? Something like that?
I haven't seen the state numbers. Yeah.
Okay. I know I think the state, if I heard correctly, is over 60%. So maybe they'll get us there to 70, so we're all there.
Yeah.
That'd be nice too.
They did say that the folks that have been infected, both locally and statewide, are predominantly unvaccinated. And we do have variants around the states, and those can lead to higher infection rates. So, you know, we want everybody to stay healthy.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely. Anything else? That's it?
no, I don't.
Phil?
I'd like to say congratulations to staff and the council and the mayor for the council goals for the next 2 years. That's an ambitious plan. There's a lot of things on that list. And I'm sure that staff will work hard to try to check off as many as possible. So thank you to everyone for their hard work to get that done so that we can start accomplishing some of those things. I'm impressed with how this council has done so much. I just hope we can keep the momentum going and keep moving forward. That's all I have.
All right, Carmen.
I'd like to echo Counselor Kilmer's efforts for encouraging us all to help us get to that 65% vaccination level. I know as a small business owner, we're really looking forward to going back to somewhat normal. So hoping that people will be willing to find a place and do the responsible thing. I'd also like to just share a little story. I was talking to a local resident who had a problem with some litter that was downtown and made a call to City Hall, and they were really pleased to see that there was somebody there helping to clean it up within 10 minutes. And I was like, yep, it's really how it works. You kind of got to make the call and let us know what's happening. And a lot of the times that's how we get things done. It's just by alerting us to something that's wrong. So kudos to the person who helped to alert us about something that needed attention. So I invite everybody out there to do the same. If there's something that you feel needs attention, we welcome you to make your comments. That's
Thanks,
all I have.
Carmen. Drew, any comments this evening?
Sure. I wanted to thank city staff as well for the work they do on the goals, and they make it very easy to look good presenting the budget when they've set it together. Also wanted to bring back up a little what I talked about at the work session. Somewhere down the road, I'd like to see us look at the flag policy again. Like I brought up, the last time we had a request, it caused a glance at the policy that hadn't been touched since 2014. It was based on 2009, and I think it'd be a good idea to have a look at it again so that we could maybe have the waterfront have a little more, I don't know, festivities or something. But yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, thank you, Drew. I believe that the flag issue and discussion on some flag modification or non-modification, whatever it may be, will come up at our work session.
That is correct.
Right. Yes.
I forgot something too. Wayne.
Sure, go ahead.
How could I forget? I helped put the publicity together for this. First Friday Wine Walk.
Yes, it was on my list.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's Rotary Club. It's launching again after, what, a year? More than a year. And there's going to be a lot of new businesses participating, but the public is invited to the wine walk from 5 to 7 on Friday, with the start at the Visitor Center. For a $10 donation, you can get the new commemorative mug, which features a beautiful tug, and just support our businesses in downtown. You probably have more to say about that, but
Not too much more,
oh, I'm
but
sorry about that.
no
That's-
problem.
Yeah.
But as Stephanie said, so it'll be this Friday, and I know she stated some new businesses, and some of those new businesses are down Front Street. So I think it'll be a great event to kick off, and it'll be enjoyed throughout the summer. And in the past, I've always enjoyed seeing lots of people walk around, and I'm looking forward to that again. The other thing is, I just think there needs to be some clarification on the fireworks. I think we're fortunate that the Mill Casino has stepped up to the plate and is putting the fireworks on for the community. And I think it's important that we recognize that. Without the Mill doing this and moving the barge down so it accommodates all of the cities, or both cities, I should say, and spread everybody out, we're able to have that. We made a choice not to have that because we had to we lost our funding. Now Roger, step in on this. If we didn't make a commitment to do something with them, and we're going to have some kind of celebration in September, am I correct?
Yeah, we're looking at postponing our fireworks and hopefully doing a memorial for 9/11. It's the 20th anniversary for 9/11, and using the fireworks then. It was a really difficult decision to make a couple of months ago when we had to make the decision. It was still tenuous on where we would be at in the matrix. In fact, as you heard from Councilor Kelmer, we were that close from going right back into more restrictive. And per our insurance policy, we can't hold an event that would be in violation of the governor's orders, or we would do so and we would not be insured. More important, just as important, to the council, allowing us to do something that we know to be unlawful puts all of the council members at personal jeopardy as well. It's not an easy decision to make, and it wasn't done lightly.
Yeah, so along those same lines, sometimes getting the correct information out and the clarification is very difficult to do. And with COVID, it's made it even more difficult. I know that this council and myself have wanted to meet with the public. I want that to start happening as soon as possible, because I think if we have a meet and greet and discussion with the public in person, that we're able to explain a lot of things that we can't do in the situation that we're in. Sometimes Friday updates can't cover all the issues, or if I get an email about something, I can respond, but it's hard for me to get all the information out or the details that go along with that without actually sitting down and having an interaction with the public. So I look forward to that, because I think it's beneficial to the staff, the council, and the public. So anyway, those are the end of my comments. And we do have, yes, Rob.
I forgot one item too. if
Sure.
you don't mind.
Just to make the rounds again.
The Boys and Girls Club has partnered with Solve to do 2 community cleanups in the area. This coming weekend, June 6th, they'll be doing Airport Heights Park in North Bend. And then the following weekend, they'll be at John Toppet's Park in Coos Bay cleaning it up.
Oh, nice. That's great. All right. Anyone else? Any other comments? Any public comments? No? Okay, I'm going to be adjourning this meeting, but we have a Coos County Urban Renewal meeting following, and so I'll adjourn it, and then Stephanie will take over the urban renewal.
Thought Carmen might want to update us on the surf rider
I
cleanup.
was gonna say, we do have a surf rider cleanup. It's not a beach cleanup this time. We're cleaning up Libby Lane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a
so-
big task. Okay.
Yeah, it's a big one.
That's a lot to clean.
You got a dump truck?
I think several lined up.
You have a link, though, that people can look at and get more information, don't you?
Yeah, it's on the Coos Bay Surf Rider website and on the Coos Bay Surf Rider Facebook page, if you want to
So
check
some
it out.
really important cleanups coming up.
Yeah, lots of good cleanups. Get clean for the summertime.
That's great. All right. Council meeting's adjourned, and Stephanie?
All right, so I will call the Urban Renewal Agency meeting to order for June 1st. And our first item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have any comments from the public? All right, then we will move on to item number 2, which is the consent calendar.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second?
We have a motion to approve the consent calendar and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3 is the approval to amend the Empire District Urban Renewal Plan. And do we have a report before we hear from Elaine?
Elaine's actually on and ready if you,
Okay. All right, we have Elaine, who is our major helper in all of this, and she's going to give a report to the Urban Renewal Agency and the public on what's happening with the Empire area.
Hi, I'm trying to figure out how to share my screen on this. So it says share content. Nicole, can you easily share yours?
yeah, I can do that. There's a, I don't know if you see across the top, oh, there you go.
There it is.
Do you have me sharing?
Here, yeah.
Okay. And is that full screen for you? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we will go over the role of the Urban Renewal Agency, the components of the plan amendment, the boundary, the projects, and the finances, the process on the maximum indebtedness concurrence, the impacts to the taxing districts, and the next steps. The role of the Urban Renewal Agency is to consider the draft amendment and, if desired, to send it out for formal public review, That includes the Coos Bay Planning Commission review for conformance to your comprehensive plan, consulting and conferring with your taxing districts, where we send out a letter of notice of intent to amend the plan, gaining public input through the different meetings that we have, having taxing district concurrence for the consideration of the maximum indebtedness increase. And we need 75% of those levying the permanent rate levy to concur on that. And I'll have another slide that will go over that. There will be a citywide notice of the city council consideration of the amendment that will include their vote on the consideration of the maximum indebtedness increase, and then the city consideration of the ordinance for the adoption of the amendment. There are 2 properties being added to the area, and the blue arrow on this slide shows where those properties are, and they are the John Toppitz Park and adding the Armory for potential brownfield cleanup in the future and potentially redevelopment in the future. In the briefing that we had last time, we wanted to make sure and understand the acreage considerations for amending an urban renewal plan. You may only add up to 20% of your original acreage. The original Empire Urban Renewal Area District acreage was 271.3 acres. So you may add during the lifetime 54.26 acres. In 2003, you added 1.19. In 2021, this amendment is 30.82 acres. So a total addition, if this amendment is passed, of 32.01, leaving you 22.25 acres to add to the area in the future. This can't be changed by reducing acreage and then giving you more capacity. This is a hard rule about additions to the area, so subtractions don't have any impact on additions. The projects being considered in this amendment are continuation of your facade program, not allocating money to the Hollering Place program, which you had in, so it's still a project in the plan, but doesn't have dollars allocated to it. Continuing the Empire Sidewalk project for $500,000, potential property acquisition for $1 million, Capitol Street improvements for just under $6 million, gateway improvements at $150,000, brownfields at $1 million, so projects at $9.1 million, and then financing fees for potential issuance of future debt of $133,000, and administration of the district throughout the remaining life of $2.75 million, for a total projects for this amendment of $15.6 million. There are assessed value and acreage limitations for urban renewal in cities of your size. You may have up to 25% of your total assessed value and up to 25% of your acreage in urban renewal. You have 2 urban renewal areas, this one and the downtown. Your total in urban renewal areas is for assessed value 6.86%, and your total in acreage is 13.09%. So you are well below both of those 25% limitations. The maximum indebtedness increase was calculated using a 2.5% growth scenario. The limitations in ORS 457 require approval of 75% of the districts representing permanent rate levy amounts. So the city itself is a large component of that, and I believe you are also asking the school district and I think the education service district for their approval. The potential maximum indebtedness increase is from $18,890,011 to a round figure of $29 million. There are other provisions of ORS 457 when you do a substantial amendment that are different from what we have encountered before. These are relatively new provisions. So if you do the substantial amendment, you lose any future revenues from bonds. And that is something that any new urban renewal plan doesn't get anyway. And we were trying to make sure that property taxpayers don't have impacts from urban renewal. So this provision was included in the statute to remove that burden from property taxpayers, that direct burden from them on urban renewal areas. And then revenue sharing provisions are another condition that come in due to changes to the statute. Those revenue sharing provisions are estimated to kick in fiscal year in 2034. And the table below just shows the projected amounts of what that revenue sharing would be. So in fiscal year in 2034 for the city, which is kind of in the middle of this table, instead of $14,447 going to the agency, that money would go to the city itself. And the same is with all of the other taxing districts. So this has subtotals, but on this side where we see the education totals, it has a total column at the end. So instead of all of that money in fiscal year end 2034 going to the Urban Renewal Agency, that $33,564 in 2034 will go divided to the taxing districts based on their permanent rate levy amounts. The different taxing districts requested this provision in the statute for substantial amendments that increase the maximum indebtedness because they wanted to be able to share in the tax increment revenues if you are going to lengthen the plan. So that is what was adopted by statute, and those would kick in fiscal year in 2034. In the report accompanying the amendment, which was part of your packet, there are taxing district impact tables. The first tables are of the amendment only. The amendment only extends the division of taxes from the other taxing districts from fiscal year end 2031 to fiscal year end 2040. I didn't put on the following slides the full impact or the impact of the present MI only, but if there are any citizens watching this, you could contact the city and get a copy of the report accompanying the plan that has that information in it. And just to clarify, the impacts of urban renewal for this district is on taxing districts only. Once the amendment is passed, there are no impacts on individual property taxpayers. So this shows the impacts of the amendment. It doesn't start until fiscal year in 2031 because the impacts before that, we look at impacts of the existing maximum indebtedness and the new maximum indebtedness. Those impacts actually will start in fiscal year in 2031 and go through 2040. So again, the city of Coos Bay is in the center of this table, and those impacts are listed here. And what that really means is that $314,441 in that year would go to the Urban Renewal Agency instead of going to the city itself. So the agency and as enacted by the city still has use of those funds, but they have to be used within the urban renewal area. And the power of urban renewal is the fact that you are able to leverage those funds by the permanent rate levies of the other taxing jurisdictions. And that is why urban renewal is a powerful tool in your community. This shows the education districts, and just a reminder on those, the Coos Bay School District is not directly impacted by urban renewal. It is an indirect impact because both the school district and the education service district are funded through the state school fund, which is funded on a per pupil basis. And none of the cities that have urban renewal areas, that per pupil basis is not impacted because they have urban renewal. What is impacted is the different funding sources that go into the state school fund, and it is funded by sources including permanent rate property taxes, but not limited to those. The proposed action for you tonight is to pass a motion to send the urban renewal plan amendment out for public review. We talked at the beginning of the presentation of what that public review is. And if you do that, the next steps would be to mail out the letters to the taxing districts to set up a briefing time with Coos County. They have to be briefed, but do not have to vote to approve the amendment. To take it to the Coos Bay Planning Commission next week to get the other taxing districts' consideration of the maximum indebtedness increase to reach that 75% threshold. The Coos Bay City Council hearing on July 20th and their vote potentially on the same night. So are there any questions? And I'm going to end, unless there are questions where you want to look at anything, I'll end the screen sharing.
And while she's ending that and we're formulating our questions, I just want to apologize to Elaine. I didn't do a very good job of introducing you. This is Elaine Howard, and she is the consultant for the Urban Renewal Agency for the city, and does a wonderful job of keeping us up to speed as to what's happening and what the future is, and possibilities. So do we have any questions from the agency?
I have one.
I knew somebody would.
On the project list, or is the agency bound to that list, or is that fluid? Like if things change, can you move money to a different project or eliminate a project, add a project?
That list is fluid. At the time you do the amendment, you have to prepare what your list is and what your intent is. But the agency may, in their, at any time really, but it typically occurs during your budgeting process, may adjust that list as long as it's within the maximum indebtedness. If you add a new project to the plan, you would have to do a minor amendment typically to bring a new project into the plan. But if you just reallocated monies to those projects or to projects that were already in your plan, that you want to allocate additional money to, you may do that.
Thank you.
Okay, and also Elaine, can you just explain what happens if this sunsets on the day that is currently in the plan, and what this extension would do? I mean, this urban renewal district goes away, does it not, at some point?
That's correct. If you do not extend this now, the agency would, I think it was fiscal year end 2031, would pay off the, I'll bring up the report and make sure that's the right time, would pay off the existing debt that you have, and you would then no longer be able to take division of taxes for this district. The city itself would receive back their share of the amount of money that's going to the urban renewal district, but yeah, 2031. But you would not receive the additional monies from the other taxing districts. So if this district terminated and then you decided to start a new district, either using part of this boundary or the exact same boundary, you would be back to the beginning of an urban renewal area where you would only be gaining that 2.5% interest off of a new frozen base assessed value each year. So your tax revenues would, off of urban renewal, would decrease significantly. And you would have to wait a number of years before you would have enough money to actually do projects again.
That may not impact the near term, but it could definitely impact progress that we're having, and that's what we're considering today. Any other questions, Drew?
Nope, that was the point I was gonna also get to, was the impact of renewing a urban renewal zone versus retaining one. And of course, if it goes that route, that we were to make a new one, yeah, like Elaine said, it's more money that goes to the overlapping taxing districts, the state, that doesn't get retained for use in our local community. So beneficial to keep them running.
And Elaine, this is Joe Benetti. So the city of Coos Bay participates financially into this urban renewal agency much greater than any other district. Am I correct?
Other than the school district, and that, again, that's a indirect impact to them. So
Right.
their funding doesn't actually go down, but their tax rate is 4.5276, and the city's tax rate is 6.3643. So yes, you have by far the highest impact, and then the school district, and everybody else's impact is relatively low.
Yeah, just to follow up, so I'm a proponent of urban renewal and always have been, but it's a great tool for us to be able to help develop businesses and expand our property and make it useful. Without it, it wouldn't happen, and it would also now allow us to generate extra taxes. An example is Coos Bay Village, which is downtown, but there's a perfect example that business and those businesses are going to exist because of urban renewal. Without urban renewal, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Roger, that would not be happening.
That's correct. Another example out in Empire, you were able to leverage using urban renewal funds as match a more than $5 million road improvement project on South Empire Boulevard.
Right. And so, and I think there's a lot of projects that are available and possible out in Empire, and that we can help participate with, that will help generate more taxes for everyone in the community and the county because of it. So, I mean, I think Nicole and I had a discussion the other day, and downtown now is generating $2 million a year annually from urban renewal. And so, those are funds that we can utilize in so many different ways to help so many businesses and help bring in a lot of revenue. So, anyway.
Well, in downtown especially, and we're starting to see in Empire,
Yep.
it's really a great way to see visually what's happening and how that impacts what happens financially for the city. There's so many projects that have utilized these funds.
Yeah, it's on the project list is Ayers Building that just sits there deteriorating, not beneficial to anyone in that community out there, our city. Hopefully that we can do something with it, and this will allow us to do it. Another one, maybe we can, I don't know if that'll ever happen, but hopefully the Gussie's owners will come around and maybe we can do something with that entity that's just been sitting there for how many years and generating nothing and not being beneficial to the community. So anyway.
Are there any other questions?
I have one
Carly?
more. Elaine, this is Rob Miles. So the properties that are being added, I believe, are both exempt from property taxes. So how does that affect this?
They're both exempt from property taxes, so it does not increase the burden to the taxing districts by moving something that was generating taxes into an urban renewal area. So it won't increase the revenues in that area. But on the other hand, we are increasing the time frame of urban renewal. But these two properties and in the short term will have no impact on the other taxing districts.
Thank you.
Anything else for Elaine while she's here? Well, thank you so much for coming tonight. Do we have any other discussion among the agency regarding this issue? Rob, did you have a chance to explain what was happening to the coalition? I know they met here recently, didn't they?
No, we haven't
Yeah.
met since the work session.
Okay. All right.
You do need to consider a motion, and maybe you're already.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the action requested. How does the agency want to proceed?
I'll make the motion to authorize the distribution of the Empire Plan with recommended amended elements for public review, beginning the required 45-day consult and confer period with the overlapping taxing districts.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to authorize the distribution of the Empire Plan with recommended amended elements for public review, beginning the 45-day consult and confer period with overlapping taxing districts. And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry, Drew. Motion carries.
No worries.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.
And so we start the clock. All right. Our next item on the agenda, if I can get this to close and the other to open, is the approval of an urban renewal grant request for 135 South Shoneman Street.
Good evening, this is Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn.
I'll be presenting that this evening. How are you guys tonight? This application for the repairs and improvement at 135 South Shoneman includes the replacement of awnings on 2 elevations, a window, and repair and replacement of metal siding, weatherization under the awning, painting of the entire structure. The design assistance team took a look at this because this is in a design area, and they're recommending approval as submitted. The applicant is before you with a part of the proposal cost estimates. There were bids secured for the awning replacement and the shop window. The balance of the work, the bid is still being developed, and they will be back with that around June 11th. The cost of the entire project isn't expected to be more than $50,000, which is well within the program standards, with 50% reimbursement of up to $25,000. Once the bids are submitted, staff will verify the costs for consistency with the project and make sure that there's a grant agreement signed before the project begins. This is the first grant request in the Empire Urban Renewal District in this fiscal year, which is going to be ending soon. Kind of exciting to see something come in now. So with that, we're here to answer any questions.
Are there any questions of Carolyn? This is exciting.
It is.
And
great
this
to
is
see.
the Tom and Giggs Automotive Building. out in-
Exactly.
Yeah. Any questions? Comments? How does the agency wish to proceed?
I'll make the motion to approve the proposed improvement grant application as submitted for 50% of eligible expenses, up to $25,000, subject to approval of any required permits.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve the grant application for 135 South Shoneman, and subject to approval of any required permits. And a second. Any comments, discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, and our next item is consideration of approval to amend the Downtown Urban Renewal Agency 2020 A Series bond issuance. Approval would require adoption of Resolution 2105. And Nicole, do you have this?
I do, thank you. As we discussed at our last work session, the downtown bond issuance was for 4th Street's project. The engineer estimates were higher than what the bid came in, so we had some extra dollars. We want to do some additional projects in the downtown area. The bond allowed us to do a draw down, so we're paying less interest that way. But that draw period ends on September 30th. We went out to bid for those additional projects, and we don't expect to start them till this fall. So we want to give ourselves a little bit of gap for those drawdown of those funds. That's what this presented to you is for. The bank has already reviewed these documents and actually has signed off on them. So if you are okay with this, we're just asking that you adopt that resolution, and then we'll have those documents ready. Roger has been the signer on these bond documents for the agency.
And this does not extend project, these are for projects in addition to the 4th Street project? Okay.
So when you say they're not starting till fall, those are the additional projects?
Yes.
Correct? So are we going to wait until 4th Street's done to make sure there isn't any unexpected?
That's why we kind of had the delay, yes.
Good question.
Good question. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, I would entertain a motion on the resolution.
I move that we adopt Resolution 21-05, extending the draw period for the Downtown Urban Renewal Agency 2020 A Series bonds.
Second?
All right, we have a motion to adopt Resolution 21-05 and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And next, we have a public hearing on the approved budget for fiscal year 2021, 2022. Is that also you, Nicole?
That's me.
All right, take it away.
We presented the proposed budget to the Budget Committee on April 15th. As you all are members of that committee, you'll remember we spent several hours that evening. This budget that you have before you tonight is that budget. We did not have changes within the proposed to the approved budget. So what we're asking for you to do tonight is to adopt this resolution, which will appropriate the funds and levy the taxes. We're recommending that you, as you have in the past, levy special levy taxes in the downtown district only at the 28%. That helps prevent compaction within the city's taxes. So if you're pleased with what's before you, that's that you adopt that resolution.
All right, so I hold the public hearing first. So I will go ahead and open the public hearing on the approval for the fiscal year budget 2021, 2022. Not necessarily in that order. No. I will open the public hearing. Do we have any comments from the public? All right. Sensing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 21-07, approving the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 21-07 for the fiscal year 2021, 2022 budget. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And with no other items on the agenda,
Just one comment. I think the Urban Renewal Agency meeting took longer than the council meeting. I'm going to find out from Melissa specifically on that.
Well, with that comment, it surely did. Making sure.
Is somebody keeping track, with the
Melissa
the
would have
hash
to be the
mark?
one to be exact. It's close, but I think we might be there.
We could keep talking for 5 more minutes.
Yeah, good.
All right, well, now you just put it over that time, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Y'all take care.